Hello, welcome back to the channel. My name is Lisa Elvin Stiltari, and I am a genealogist and a passionate traveler. Since 2021, I've been exploring each of these filles du roi, getting to know each of their stories, and les filles mariées as well, trying to understand what they brought to New France and to the history of North America ultimately. Each of these women deserves her time to shine, and that's the purpose of this project I've been on for this many years, trying to get to know them and kind of put them on a pedestal where they belong because they truly were exceptional women. And today we're going to be looking at one of them, a fille mariée, the marriageable girls that came before les filles du roi. And before we begin, let me show you ways you can support the channel. The first three keep you in the know. Subscribe, it's very important, free. Like, that's every video that you like helps the channel get out there, if you will, and notifies just for you, so that every time I post a video, you get a notification. And then there are three other ways to help the channel grow. And one of them is through the YouTube memberships program that I worked on. And it starts at 99 cents and goes all the way to $24.99, depending on your level of interest and genealogical work and that sort of thing. All of the members get early access. So once I post, for example, all the month of June, they get access to all of the videos right away as I post them monthly. And so they don't have to wait, that sort of thing. And so then there is also another PayPal button that you can use on my website, Have Virtual Travel, where you can donate a one-time. I actually have a few people that actually donate on PayPal monthly, so that's really nice. And then I also have the super thanks that you can do per video, which is really kind of neat, and it's sort of like a tip. Every time I see one come through, I'm like, oh, they liked it, they really liked it. So thank you to those of you who have participated. And with that being said, let's get on with the show and get to know our fille mariée of this episode. Today we're going to be looking at episode 131 of Les Filles Mariées, Marguerite Guillebourdeau. And she comes to us from a viewer request. It was a pleasure. I did not have her in my file, so it was a pleasure to get to know Marguerite a little bit better. We are not certain of her birth year, so that's why I put a question mark. She is from the commune of Marseille in France. Her parents were Louis Guillebourdeau and Marie Marguerite. Marseille is a small rural commune in the Vienne département of Nouvelle-Aquitaine that you can see circled there. It lies in the historical province of Poitou, a region that contributed many, many early settlers to New France. In the heart of this village is the Église Saint-Médard, a parish church with roots that go back to at least the 15th century. And Marseille was and still is primarily an agricultural place. Families here worked the land, raised livestock, and grew grain and oilseeds. Many were tenant farmers, and their lives are documented in both parish and notarial records. The city also features the Château de Birson, a 19th century manor that reflects the region's rural nobility. So that is a beautiful thing as well to see. And this is where our Marguerite comes from. Marguerite would arrive in New France in 1650, very early on. The groom that she would select and who selected her, his name, Jean Bergeon, and he was born in 1612 in Laudeny in France. His parents were Louis Bergeon and Marthe Fauvier. Now, he is part of the Nouvelle-Aquitaine region, and inside of that region, you can see the département, or the county, that his small commune was found is in Charente. Now, Laudeny is a small rural commune, and its roots stretch back to the medieval period. Its most historic site is the Église Saint-Hilaire, which was built in the 12th century, and there was a bell that was cast in 1608, 4 years before Jean was born. It's just amazing. Another key landmark is the Château de Laudeny, also known as the Château de Feu. It was built as a simple manor in the 17th century, and ultimately was transformed into this grand chateau. Beautiful sites to visit if this is your ancestry. Jean would come to New France, and he was a sharecropper for several landowners, notably Eleanor Grandmaison, who was one of the very first inhabitants of Ile d'Orléans. Jean and Marguerite were married at Quebec City on the 20th of November, 1650. Think about how early that is. Amazing. Let's review a little bit about Quebec City, where Marguerite and Jean settled. Quebec is today and was always the capital city of the province of Quebec. 500,000 people live directly in Quebec City. Quebec was originally named by the Algonquins, who named the area K-E-B-E-C, Quebec, which in their native language meant where the river narrows. Quebec City lies where the St. Lawrence River narrows. Samuel de Champlain founded a French settlement here in 1608 and called it Ville de Québec. The walls, which was very common at the time, but Quebec City is the only city in North America that has remaining city walls that you can see here on the left hand of your screen. That is part of the city walls that would have protected it. There's so much to see in Quebec City, but I wanted to kind of give you a bird's eye view. Right here in the middle left is the famous Plains of Abraham. Now, Abraham Martin, dit l'Écossais, was a very prominent and early settler of Quebec and New France. And his land would later be known as the Plains of Abraham, or that they fought the British, who ultimately, this is the moment where they lost their country, was on that Plains of Abraham. And it's a beautiful, beautiful area. You can visit it. The oldest house in Quebec that still stands is a Maison Jacquette, which was a private residence in 1675. And if you'd like to tour it, it is actually a restaurant that you can sit and eat in a house that has seen so much history. And then here is Le Petit Champlain, which is known as the oldest commercial district in North America. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but it feels true. And then this is an AI depiction of what Quebec City might have looked like at that time. They would go on to have 4 children. Jeanne would marry first, Jean Labrec, and they would have 3 children, all of whom made it to adulthood. She would then marry Antoine Montin and have 8 children, 3 of whom made it to adulthood. Finally, she would marry Pierre Brulot and have 2 children, but both of whom made it to adulthood, and 1 that would leave descendants. Nicolas would marry Anne Crépeau and have 4 children, all of whom made it to adulthood. Anne's mother was Marguerite Laverdure, who we profiled in Pays du Roi 100, and I provided the link for you as well. Nicolas would then marry Jeanne Rouleau and would have 3 more children, all of whom made it to adulthood. Louis would pass away before the 1666 census. Jean married Marie-Jeanne Guillebourdeau and would have 4 children, all of whom made it to adulthood. Marie-Jeanne's mother was Marie Marthe Bourgon, and we profiled her in the Fille Marie episode 58 and then provided the link as well. On the 20th of October, 1662, Marguerite's life would come to an end. She and Jean would have been married a mere 12 years, but she would leave us with 143 descendants, making her mark a very big one, despite the short time she was here in New France. You can see that she could not appear in the censuses of 1666 or 1667. So that's another reason why we don't know her year or how old she was. And even on her death record, there is no indication of her how old she was. And just a very, very sad. I would think that she was probably in her 30s. That's my guess. But it's anyone's guess, really, at this point. But certainly, this was a very tragic loss for her children. Luckily, we do have a profile of Jean in our French-Canadian Ancestors in volume 28. And I provided the link to the Facebook group if you want to go and see the file immediately, or if you want to look for this book. It is volume 28 of our French-Canadian Ancestors by Thomas J. Laforest, and you can find it possibly in a family history center, or possibly on eBay. A lot of my subscribers have told me the success they've had purchasing our French Canadian ancestors, because they're out of print now. So it's just a question of trying to find it used, and that can be a problem as well. So that will give you a little bit more information about Jean and Marguerite as well. You know, it's so sad when they leave us so early. I don't think I've done a femme mariée yet. I can't remember who passed away before even the census, even one of them. So this was really, really sad to me when she died in 1662. I mean, she really left a life, you know, and so we are so grateful that she was able to contribute and to become the matriarch for the lines that she would leave us. So thank you to Marie Marguerite, because you are truly very, very special. And we bless your memory, and we are so, so thankful for your sacrifice. And with that being said, I also want to say thank you to my patrons, supporters, and subscribers. Thank you so much for being there for me all these many years. I really have appreciated it and continue to appreciate all of your generous support and your likes and dislikes and all of that good stuff. I appreciate the community that we're building here that is really focused on honoring these women. So with that being said, I will look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Les Filles à Marier. Until then, au revoir.